Alright guys, so we've got another amazing designer fragrance today, and it's John Varvatos Vintage. I think this is the second release from John Varvatos. This one was released in 2006, and the perfumer behind it is Rodrigo Flores-Roux. He's actually the guy behind all the John Varvatos fragrances, including the Artisan line. And he's also done some fragrances for the American niche brand Arquiste. I think they're based in New York City. And he's also the nose behind Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino. So some serious experience. And I think, if you know John Varvatos as a house, they do really kind of unique sense for being a designer brand. And I think this guy, Rodrigo Flores-Roux has a really creative mind and nose, and is really one of the best in the game. So this scent, this is a bold one. Despite how dark the bottle looks, this is actually a very fresh scent that is wearable year round. So let's start with that. And it can work as a signature scent for a certain kind of guy. This, like I said, is a bold one. There's no hiding from this kind of scent. It really is out there. It really makes a statement, and you have to be confident when you rock this. I would put this in the group of super masculine scents. Really, one of the most masculine scents that I've smelled. And basically, there are two reasons why I really like this. And one is that, it's very, very unique. There's really nothing that smells like this. And it sort of puts it into niche territory in terms of how unique the composition is and how complex it is. And the second main reason I like this scent is it is very, very full-bodied. And it gives you a full experience with, a lot of different notes. It's very complex. And again, delivering something that typically an experience that niche perfumes often deliver. So you get some freshness, you get some leather, you get some woody nuances, you get herbal qualities, you get, green facets, you get pretty much everything in this scent. Although at first you might think that it is, leans very strongly into sort of that masculine barbershop type of scent, it really is much more complex than that. So let me actually first mention some of the notable notes here, because there are so many notes and it's a very complex scent to talk about without having some reference points. So some unique notes here that stand out are rhubarb. There's this fruit called quince, which is supposed to be a relative of pear, and we'll talk about that. There's also wormwood, fennel, I believe. I'm not sure if it contains basil. And then there's tobacco, leather, and some black pepper, lavender, and cinnamon, okay? And there are other notes as well, but those are the ones that I'm gonna focus on. So when you first spray it in the opening, it opens up very juicy, fruity, not in a juvenile way, not in a feminine, fruity kind of way. It opens up very deep, but in a very mouth-watering, juicy way. And the fruit here, to me gives off at times a little bit of an apple-like feel. Other times some generic tropical fruit that is just oozing with water. It's just a very, very juicy fruit. And part of what's contributing to that is not just the quince note. I'm not familiar with the fruit quince, but rhubarb. Rhubarb I am familiar with, and you guys probably are as well, from it being used in a lot of different foods. So rhubarb, has this very vegetal smell to it. At the same time, sweet and tart, right? And that's what you're getting here. Very, very a distinctive sourness, and a little bit rooty at the same time. And of course, there are other notes that are probably giving it this rooty quality, but it's a very, very, it's a weird combination of juicy sweetness and almost slightly resinous with this watery aspect, watery fruity aspect, and then the green portion, the kind of vegetal, rooty element as well in the opening. But quite sweet, actually. You might be surprised by how sweet it is, but it has a very, very dark sweetness to it. It's not, a sweetness like you might find in Versace Eros. There is a rich, deep, again, very sour, in a very intriguing way, sweetness about it. And the fruit is like nothing you've smelled before. It's very, very unique. Overall, I would say it's very tangy. Whatever this fruit is, right? It's a very tangy fruit with a slight tropical tinge. So before we talk more about notes and the scent, this scent overall and this, bottle presentation, the color, everything, the brand, might conjure up a certain kind of image for a lot of people. And that is sort of, guy in a leather jacket or biker jacket. It has this kind of bad boy image, right? I do get that. I describe this scent as sort of very, very masculine. But I like to think in terms of nature and in terms of, kind of that sort of environment when I think of images. Because, a lot of these perfume ingredients, aside from the synthetic chemicals, they're derived from nature, right? The fruits, vegetables, herbs, whatever, spices. So, I like to think in those terms. And I'm reminded weirdly with this scent of the sort of Amazon rainforest kind of vibe. And I think that's because this scent, like I said, has a dark aspect to it, but it still manages to be fresh, right? So it has this very rugged appeal, sort of an adventurous kind of scent. And that's because of this combination of, tobacco notes, leather note, and then the fruity aspect. Like I said, a slightly tropical feel to the fruit because of how watery and juicy it is, how tart it is with the rhubarb mixing in, giving it that quality. And then there is also this woody background as well that is very, very fresh. It's sort of the woods that are here take me into the forest. You can almost, this contains also a lot of pepper and lavender, which definitely come out strong in this scent and make this a lot more aromatic. And like I said, despite how sweet, rich, maybe slightly dark it feels at first, it manages to be very, very fresh, partly because of these more aromatic notes, lavender, pepper. Pepper is one of my favorite notes in a fragrance. It's so simple, but it just, makes the scent classy and also gives it a lot of lift, right? It has this nose tingling sensation that really balances out, especially in this type of scent, other notes that are richer and deeper. Overall, the classification for this fragrance, I would say this smells like a green spicy leathery scent, all right? And that combination is not found all that often, especially in the designer realm, right? A green scent, meaning there is some freshness to it, mixing in with sort of more dry elements like leather. In this case, they list suede leather, which is a little bit of a softer note. And then overall, there is this kick, primarily coming from pepper. And the other major aspect about this scent is the green aspect. There are multiple herbal notes in here, green and herbal notes. There's fir in the base, and then there is also wormwood, which is unique, and fennel and basil. On that wormwood notes, the only other time that I can recall right now directly encountering the wormwood note, right, that sort of made me learn about that note and that scent is in Amouage's memoir Man. And there is some similarity here. I think wormwood as a note, it is the ingredient used in vermouth or absinthe. It has this ability to kind of evoke a forest image, for me at least. A very deep but clean and fresh sort of, sinus clearing forest air. Now the reason why this scent smells so masculine, these herbal notes, particularly the wormwood, and mixing in with the leather, it sort of often creates this kind of boozy accord. It has a very, sometimes slightly medicinal and sometimes a liqueur-like feel to the scent. Not, off-putting at all. I actually enjoy it. It has a addicting quality about it, but that's what sort of gives it this, I think, very masculine quality. You still get the sourness from that rhubarb. And again, that blending with the wormwood and then the leather and tobacco, again, create this sort of very alcohol, very liqueur-like feel, right? Very, very rich, very, very intense. I wouldn't say really smoky. It's really more aromatic because of that note of pepper. So not really a smoky nuance here, but very fresh. Lavender, not the main player, but I think adding to overall that sort of classical masculine DNA, barbershop type of DNA, but not so much that it dominates. And then adding a little bit of sharpness to the scent. Again, giving it a very clean appeal. Now, in terms of versatility, I mentioned in the beginning, I think this is a scent actually can be worn year-round. I've worn it these days in the summer, hot weather, and it has this sort of, it basically never gets cloying. It has the same quality whether it's hot or cold, right? It has that ability to stick around in cold weather and then also amplify a little bit and have this sensual appeal in hot weather. And yeah, there is something about this scent that, no matter how intense it gets, it still has a freshness about it, right? So that if there's one thing to take away is that, don't be scared about the darkness of this scent. If you don't like this kind of masculine scents, that might be a reason to stay away, but it is a fresh smelling scent. And real quick on performance, I know people have talked about having some performance issues. I actually get pretty good performance, a good, at least 5-6 hours. And especially the first few hours, very good projection. So, for me, this is perfect. I don't want it to be any stronger. I like, the bubble that it creates. It's just the right sort of projection. And it's just a smooth scent, right? This is really a smooth, yet rugged kind of scent. That's really the best way to describe it. If you're that kind of guy or you want to be that kind of guy, give off that impression, that's sort of what this is. Very masculine, touch leathery, but fresh and green and spicy at the same time with that kick, and quite aromatic, and has a little bit of that old school DNA, but in a very attractive way. I think women definitely will be drawn to this scent. And you'll smell unique. There's nothing on the designer market that smells like this, even on the niche side. So, I think this is a must-have for that reason. Really, I think a fragrance is a must-have when there is no replacement for it. And this, for sure, is unique. So definitely worth adding. We didn't even talk about the price, and that's really the best part. I think you can pick this up for around $30 these days, which is insane, right? It beats out a lot of scents that are $60 and up, in my opinion, and it, totally worth the money, and you could even pay more for this kind of scent. Right, so that's all I have for you on Varvatos Vintage. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.